Fact or fiction? More homes sell during the snowy white winter in northern Michigan than any other time of the year. Well, it's a fact relative to the number of new listings. So what we see in this graph, we talk to our sellers about all the time, and it's a really cool dynamic. Everybody thinks that we're so seasonal in northern Michigan, and the time to sell your home is in the spring when everything's green and beautiful and the buyers are in town because, even though our communities have like a thriving winter lifestyle with the skiing, the snowshoeing, the ice fishing, all of it, it does get a little bit quieter up here. But what does that really mean in terms of sales, and why is it important to know? So what's so cool about this chart is these blue bars are the actual units sold. So these are homes that were sold this past year by month. And then the orange line is the number of new listings. It's mind-blowing to take a look at this data and really think about what it means. And if you're somebody maybe thinking about listing in the spring, that might make sense for you, but looking at these numbers, it might not. It kind of depends on your situation. November, we actually sold more homes that were listed. And what we see as listing agents, we even see some of the homes, we see days on the market go up in November. And the reason for that is some of the homes that struggled to sell here in July and August, because they were up against all this new listing competition during that time, as the buyers, the serious buyers, remain in the market and the number of new listings go down, they start kind of giving better consideration to some of those homes. So we see those sell. And because that days on the market number is based on home sales, that number goes up. It doesn't mean that new listings for that same time period are actually taking longer to sell. So it's a really interesting dynamic that we see. What else is important about this data? So right here, if you're listed to sell, you see that the new listings are just plummeting. So that means you're available to buyers that are very serious. They need to live here, want to live here in the winter. They're not summer looky-loos. And you're one of just a few homes that are available that might fit all of their needs. And that continues, as you see, through December's not out yet, but through the end of November. And you can see that even in the start of January when you see listings start to pick up a little bit, but still low relative to the overall market here in February and March. May is commonly thought of, the end of May, around Memorial Day weekend, as the time to list. And while we do see a peak in home sales in May, these sales, it takes at least 20 or so for a cash deal, 20 or so days for a cash deal to hit the closing table. It takes a little bit longer for any sales that have an inspection or are financing. So these sales are actually offers that probably happened in early April or late March when the competition was lower. What happens here in May is we see the competition, the number of listings go way, 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 way up. So you're competing against a larger number of listings. And you see that continue, this gap between listings and sales continues all the way up until it looks like the end of October, those two numbers met. So does it make sense to wait until spring? Well, this data suggests that it probably doesn't. Now, if you don't live here, like a lot of our sellers don't during this time of year, it might be really difficult to prep your home and get ready to sell. It might make sense for you to wait until spring. You might be concerned about photos, and that is a legitimate concern. It's something that we would have to think about. Some homes actually show better in the snow than they do during the spring because the landscaping and the whatnot, depending on your situation, depending on how ready, set, go it is, your snow might be really helpful to your curb appeal. So there's lots of things to think about. Every seller is unique. And we are very happy to help you think through this data and what it means for your situation. All you have to do is reach out and call or slide into our DMs. Hope you find this helpful and you have a wonderful, safe, wintry weather weekend in northern Michigan.